Welcome to Who Needs a Superhero? Chapter 4 Iron Man Salvation by Success. Tony Stark had it all. A magazine cover life of glamour, achievement, and riches. He was a brilliant inventor and technician with a bright future. His present was nothing to sneeze at either. Only in his 20s, Stark was already a wealthy man thanks to his weapons research, munitions, manufacturing plants. Blessed with rugged good looks and a natural flair for the high life, Tony was the paparazzi's darling. As he frequented nightclubs, elite clubs, not nightclubs, with a different beautiful starlet or supermodel draped on his arm every night. Life offered Tony nothing less than the best of everything. Then one day, everything changed. Tony Stark's heart got broken, literally. To encourage confidence in his latest weapons technology, Stark agreed to supervise the field testing of his new microtransistor armaments. But this testing wasn't a simulation exercise. Stark's weapons were deployed in the jungle battlefields of Vietnam, and the inventor himself went along to see his creations in action. He should have stayed home. At first, everything went perfectly. The new high-tech weapons functioned flawlessly. The American soldiers routed the Viet Cong in the aftermath of the one-sided battle. Stark strolled through the jungle with an army of officers savoring the victory. Then the millionaire scientist stumbled over an unseen tripwire. Ensuring explosion killed a handful of American soldiers who accompanied Stark. Tony Stark himself survived, but just barely. The explosion riddled his body with shrapnel. The Viet Cong found Stark unconscious form in his civilian clothing. Convinced the enemy that the wounded man might be an American dignitary, perhaps a politician. Then they carried the bleeding inventor to their commander, Wong Chu. An examination of Stark's identification papers revealed his occupation, and the examination of his wounds revealed that he only had a few weeks to live. The explosion had embedded an injury Stark's heart. Even worse, the shrapnel was embedded in his chest, slowly making its way towards the heart. The shrapnel was too close to the heart to remove by surgery. The injury was a ticking time bomb, and Tony Stark's days were on a countdown. Wong Chu decided to milk this opportunity fate had placed in his hands. He told Tony Stark about his internal injuries with one significant lie added. Wong Chu claimed that his doctors could save Stark's life. If Stark would develop a weapon for Wong Chu's personal use, then the Viet Cong commander would order the life-saving surgery. Tony Stark pretended to cooperate with Wong Chu. He knew his heart was beyond the help of surgery, but Stark was also a man to make the most of his opportunities. Turned loose in a warehouse of machinery, tools, and scrap iron, Stark determined to build a weapon he could use to bring down Wong Chu, even if it were his final action in the land of the living. Fearing that Stark might die before the weapon was completed, Wong Chu gave the American inventor an assistant, the aged Chinese scientist Yin Xing. The old man had long been a prisoner of the communists, and at the first he refused to cooperate with Stark. Only when Tony revealed his plan to turn the weapon against their captors did Yin Xing enthusiastically join the project. The machine Tony Stark envisioned was simultaneously an engine of destruction and a lifesaver. Feverishly, he and Yinxing crafted a massive suit of mechanized body armor. The iron suit would be impregnable to conventional weapons. Built into the suit were various offensive weapons. But most important for Stark, the heart-supporting circuitry would wired into the chest plate. If all went according to plan, Stark's new weapon would assure his own survival as well as the downfall of his captor. As work proceeded, Stark's cardiac pains became more frequent and more severe. At times, he almost was incapacitated, and Yinxing pushed ahead with the work in the desperate race against death. In the end, they had no time to test the armor. As the final work was completed, Tony Stark collapsed, and Yinxing frantically fitted the battle suit onto the dying inventor. Just as Yinxing put the last piece of mechanized armor in place, a jury ring alarm warned the scientists that Wang Chu was on his way to the lab. Even though the armor was completed, charging the suit to full operational power would require several minutes. During the energizing process, Stark was helpless, and the armor was little more than an iron cage. To gain time, Yinxing tried to lure Wang Chu away from the laboratory, where Tony Stark lay immobilized. The elderly scientist ran into the corridor, shouting threats at the Viacom warlord. Wang Chu was not to be deterred. At his order, the guards completely gunned down the unarmed Yinxing. Tony Stark heard the grim events unfold outside the lab. Somehow he vowed he would find vengeance for his friend Yinxing. Wang Chu broke into the lab. Neither Stark nor the promised weapon could be found. Wang Chu was enraged and mounted a search for the missing scientist. Little did the warlord realized that he had only to raise his eyes to find the armored inventor. Stark hid in the shadows of the laboratory ceiling using the powerful transistor suction devices. With each passing minute, the armor became more fully charged, and Tony Stark mastered the basic movements with his new mechanized body. He unleashed his vengeance in hand-to-hand combat, so humbling that the frightened Wang Chu dubbed his foe the ironclad Avenger. Iron Man was born. Unfortunately, the armor temporarily exhausted its internal power while Stark was recharging. Wang Chu fled from Stark in an act of sheer vindictiveness. The warlord determined to kill all his prisoners before Iron Man could stop him. Unable to pursue Wang Chu, Stark hatched a last-ditch plan. He expelled some of the armor's oil supply in pressurized steam, squirting the oil past the sprinting Wang Chu and splashing it against some ammunition storage shed. Igniting the trail of oil, Stark exploded the ammunition reserves just as Wang Chu drew abreast of the shed. The warlord was caught in the full force of the conflagration. Yinxing's murder was avenged. Iron Man had won the first of many victories. This is the end of part 1. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe if you've yet to, and of course, hit the notification bell. That way you know when more stuff comes up. Also, as well, please comment and share. And have a great and wonderful day. God bless. Bye for now.